Tsunade, the 5th Hokage of the Leaf Village, elected to protect her people from outside invasions, did not fight against Tendo or any other paths of pain during the invasion of the Leaf Village midway through Naruto Shippuden. Which is weird, because whenever somebody is invading the Leaf Village, it's expected that the Hokage will fight that person, meet them in the battlefield, make sure the village is safe, try to protect as many people as they can, and if necessary, sacrifice their own life to ensure the safety of the village and the people within. That's how Hiruzen died, protecting the village from Orochimaru, and that's how Minato died, protecting the village from the Nine Tails and also Obito, but people didn't know Obito was around. Tobirama also died, protecting not the village per se, but several ninjas from his squadron, sacrificing his life so that the younger generation could live on and carry the Will of Fire. Hashirama, on the other hand, was killed by Hikaku Chiha. I'm kidding, he wasn't. Well, not that we know of. So why didn't Tsunade go fight Pain? After all, it's one of those things we're kind of expecting the Hokage to do, and some people really wanted to see that fight happening. And Tsunade really needed a few additional fights in Naruto Shippuden because the only fight she has is the one against Madara alongside the Hokage, which is a great fight, don't get me wrong, but it's the only fight she actually has in Naruto Shippuden, and she only has one fight in Naruto Part 1 as well against Orochimaru and Kabuto and everything. And Tsunade is a fascinating character. She is very good. Probably the best written female character in Naruto. Not that that's saying much, because Kishimoto kind of ignores the female characters, but the arc she goes through during the Search for Tsunade arc is actually amazing. You should reread that arc if you haven't in a while. So let's explain why Tsunade didn't fight Pain during the Pain arc, and explain it from an in and also out-of-universe perspective. When we're talking about an out-of-universe perspective, we have to take a look at the Pain arc and determine what the arc is trying to achieve in the grand scheme of the Naruto narrative. When you do that, it's very easy to see that the point was for Naruto to overcome the cycle of hatred and talk no Jutsu Nagato in the end. Naruto was the main character of this arc, which sounds kinda stupid because the name of the story is Naruto, and obviously he is the main character, but there are several arcs, especially arcs leading up to this one, that Naruto wasn't the main character at all, and some of those he wasn't even present for, like the Jiraiya the Gallant arc, the fated battle between brothers, the Itachi Pursuit arc. Naruto did not have a major battle in Naruto Shippuden up until the Pain arc. I'm serious. Think about this for a second. In the Kazekage Rescue arc, there were two major fights. Deidara vs Gaara, and Shio and Sakura vs Sasori. Naruto had his moment against the Itachi body double, but that wasn't nearly close to be the most grandiose part of that arc. And also a few interesting moments with Deidara, but obviously Naruto did not have a set-piece battle in the first arc of Naruto Shippuden, which is kind of weird, but a choice I actually respect, because what Kishimoto gave to Sakura in that arc was very interesting. It's a shame he didn't follow through in Naruto Shippuden, but that's okay. When we go to the Tenchi Bridge arc, technically Naruto has a set-piece battle there, which is the Four Tails versus Orochimaru fight. However, Naruto is not himself in that fight. He is just hateful chakra of the Nine Tails that doesn't even have intellect because it's just chakra, with the Nine Tails' hateful personality guiding it. It wasn't even the Nine Tails' intellect. So, not really a fight Naruto had an agents on, which is not a problem. That fight was the best part of the arc. And then when they fight Sasuke in the hideout, it's a 2-chapter encounter. They barely even fight to begin with. So no set-piece battle for Naruto yet. And when we go to the Akatsuki Suppression arc, Kakuzu has a major fight with a lot of people, and Naruto arrives to essentially deal the finishing blow with the Rasen Shuriken and everything, but Naruto just kind of fights him for 2 chapters and that's it. Yeah, he gets the glory of finishing Kakuzu off. Well, technically Kakashi finishes him off, but Naruto deals the decisive blow. But it feels like Naruto was not the main character of that fight. In the Pain arc, obviously this is going to change, and that's a good thing. We were missing some Naruto fights when Naruto was actually the protagonist. And with the entire build-up, with everything Kishimoto did, Jiraiya vs Pain, Jiraiya dying, Naruto finding out about Jiraiya's death, Naruto learning Sage Mode, a technique Jiraiya used imperfectly, and now Naruto perfects it. On top of the relationship Naruto shares with Nagato, they were both students of Jiraiya. They both could refer to the prophecy of the one who will bring balance to the force. No. Of the one who will either bring peace or great destruction to the world. And Naruto is obviously a mirror of sorts to Naruto. He is an alternative version of Naruto that could have happened if Naruto had given in to hatred and, most importantly, pain. And Naruto had to be the one to defeat Pain in order for the arc to be interesting. First of all, we needed to see him beating Pain in terms of strength to signify him surpassing Jiraiya, as was growing strong in his trajectory to become Hokage, but most importantly, we needed to see him beating Pain philosophically, delivering the talk on the jutsu, shattering Nagato's ideology, and winning the day by resurrecting the Leaf Village. So Naruto had to be the one to defeat Pain, and I don't think anybody is going to dispute me on that. I'm saying all this because Tsunade could not be involved here. Because of all those things that I've just mentioned, Naruto had to be kind of alone in the fight. Yes, he had 2,050 toads helping him out, but those are technically his jutsu, the summoning jutsu, so he is still kind of alone. And at the end of the day, when he's actually fighting Pain to defeat him and also facing him to talk on a jutsu Pain, he is by himself. So even though Tsunade could have been powerful and certainly helpful against Pain, she could not be there alongside Naruto. You had to take her out of the narrative somehow. But okay, couldn't you have given Tsunade a fight against Pain before Naruto arrived? That would be the more ideal way to do it, wouldn't it? I mean, technically, if you really wanted to, you could, but you would lose a few things if you did so. First of all, you would have to make Tsunade seem strong, so she would have to defeat a few paths of Pain, which somewhat decreases the tension for the eventual fight against Naruto. Okay, if people were defeating the paths before, I mean, Naruto can do it now too. Obviously, fighting against all six at the same time is much more problematic, but that's not even the main issue because Konohamaru defeats a path before Naruto arrives, and that's horrible because Konohamaru shouldn't exist in the Naruto story. And if you wanted to defeat a path before Naruto arrived, you could have given that fight to anybody in the Konoha 12. That would have been much more interesting than Konohamaru, but anyways, the real narrative problem you would get if you put Tsunade in a fight against Pain before Naruto showed up is simply that you're throwing the Hokage against the threat. And because the Hokage is the greatest authority in the Leaf Village, the most powerful ninja supposedly, you will give off this feeling that, okay, we're reaching the climax of the arc, I guess there's nowhere to go from here, and yeah, we know Naruto is eventually going to arrive. The entire arc is building up to that, but subconsciously, you're still thinking, oh man, I guess Tsunade is gonna do something here, and I don't know if Naruto is going to arrive or not. And why the hell is Tsunade fighting against Pain? Because I know Naruto has to fight against Pain, so this fight is kind of pointless, isn't it? We know Tsunade cannot win for narrative reasons. Naruto has to be the one who wins. Or at least the one who's going to fight against Pain with all six paths. So putting her there is going to be a little bit dissatisfactory because we're kind of already in the mindset that, okay, yeah, this fight's not gonna be good for Tsunade here. She has to lose, which is not great for you to have, especially when it comes to a Hokage here. She's supposed to be pretty powerful and respected. I'm not saying you couldn't gain a few things if Tsunade fought against Pain. You could go fight to Tsunade, which is a good thing, and you could also build up Pain to be this absolutely insane threat, which defeated the Hokage before Naruto showed up, and Naruto saves the Hokage when he shows up, which he literally does in the original, but we're gonna get to that later. But the thing is, we've already established that Pain is extremely powerful and a formidable threat with the characters he fought beforehand, mainly Jiraiya, obviously, but in the Leaf Village, Kakashi. Kakashi was the second strongest ninja in the village after Tsunade in the moment of Pain's invasion. Guy was not in the village because he couldn't be. The 7th gate would probably be a little bit too much for Pain to handle, and obviously the 8th gate is not even a question, but obviously you can accept a few ninjas being away. So if Jiraiya wasn't enough, we also get Pain killing Kakashi. Not a permadeath here, but still enough to raise the stakes and show that this guy is extremely powerful, and he did it with only 2 paths, not 6. So when Naruto is about to face 6, you're really fearing that Naruto may not be able to do it. Including Tsunade in that probably wouldn't work out. If you wanted to do more with the Paths of Pain before Naruto showed up, which I think could definitely have worked, would be to throw the other Konoha 12 members against them, and not Konohamaru. Make Sakura do something. She is screaming for Naruto's help in one of the most iconic scenes in the Naruto series just before he arrives. It's a very nice emotional scene because Sakura is just absolutely desperate, yelling for Naruto. She doesn't know Naruto's gonna show up. Do you realize that? She's just desperate, screaming for Naruto's name after she sees that the Leaf Village has become a massive crater. She didn't know Naruto was gonna get summoned there. She was just crying for help because Naruto was the only person she thought could do something about it. But imagine if Sakura had actually done more things during the Pain arc itself, trying to save the village as best as she could, having difficult fights, getting hurt, saving people. She only really fights against animal path centipedes, and that's it. She saves a little girl, which is good, but it doesn't really feel like she went through this massive struggle. And you could pretty much apply the same thing to any other Konoha 12 member that you can think of. I mean, not Sasuke, obviously. I should have said Konoha 11, but anyways. When Naruto finally arrives, we have that amazing scene when he stomps the Asura Path as the Asura Path's about to kill Tsunade. And he tells Pain that the Hokage should not have to deal with scum like him, and the fight starts. That's great. But in order for us to reach that moment, Tsunade couldn't have been fighting against Pain. We only get to that epic moment because Pain reaches Tsunade and he essentially starts to talk to her. They have that debate. Tsunade realizes Pain, the one standing in front of her, used to be one of the boys that Jiraiya trained. And essentially because Tsunade rage baits Pain, he destroys the Leaf Village to show her real pain. He didn't really plan to completely crater the Leaf Village there. So technically that was Tsunade's fault for challenging Pain's philosophy. And yeah, I guess you could have done that while they were actually engaged in battle, but it makes it even more impactful if Tsunade doesn't even get a chance to do anything and he just completely wrecks the village. The catastrophic Shinra Tensei scene is one of the most iconic scenes in the Naruto story. You love the Leaf Village as a Naruto reader or watcher, and seeing it getting destroyed in a few seconds is heartbreaking. And that moment works better if Tsunade and Pain are not engaged in a fight. You have to remember several things were kind of happening at the same time there. When Pain is talking to Tsunade is also when Pain extracts Shizune's soul and gets the information that Naruto is in Mount Myoboku. And we also have to remember that the reason why Tsunade was talking to Pain and stalling for time was because she wanted to buy enough time for Naruto to arrive in the Leaf Village and fight against Pain because she trusted Naruto was the only one who could actually defeat this guy. Which is great for her character and the relationship she has with Naruto. We see that when Naruto saves her from the Asura Path, she sees Jiraiya's and Minato's back at Naruto's back in one of those very cool shots, very symbolic, showing that he is just like they used to be and he is on his path to become Hokage and a great person. And also, even from a narrative standpoint, it just makes more sense to put Tsunade in a more support role because of her powers. And this is when we move to the in-universe explanation. Tsunade is a medic ninja, the best medic ninja in the history of the shinobi world. She can obviously fight, but when she acts as a support, that will increase the chance of your team or your village to beat the enemy substantially. Think about the situation the Leaf Village was in. They were being attacked, explosions were everywhere, massive animal path summons were destroying buildings and everything. But because of how Pain chose his method of attack, intelligently so, the Leaf Village didn't know exactly what they were dealing with. He tossed the animal path by herself into the Leaf Village so the barrier would only sense one intruder, and then the animal path summons the other paths. They start to wreak havoc, the Asura path is shooting missiles everywhere. It's very difficult to tell what's going on, especially in the beginning of the attack. The fog of war is going to be very thick there, and that's because Pain designed the attack to be that way, so nobody would really know that he is trying to get intel on Naruto until he's already tried several times. There's a world that's, well, if Pain got a ninja that wasn't particularly very aligned with the will of fire, he would just give Naruto's location and Pain could leave the village in 5 minutes. But the thing is, the village was exploding, people were getting hurt and even dying. The best thing Tsunade could do at that point, when she didn't even know exactly what was going on, was to send healing to everybody she could possibly send it to. She summoned Katsuyu, split the slug into thousands of pieces, and emitted her chakra towards the slugs that would connect itself to several ninjas around the Leaf Village, and possibly even civilians that got hurt, and provide them healing ninjutsu. That would improve their chances in fights, and also to survive an encounter against the Paths of Pain, and heal civilians that may have gotten hurt. Katsuyu could also help as a support by providing information to ninjas around the battlefield, which Katsuyu is able to do. She did that with Naruto, and Naruto was fighting against Pain after all. And by emitting her chakra, Tsunade was essentially buffing every single ninja in the battlefield. So that becomes kind of a question of a trade-off. Would Tsunade be more helpful if she actually fought against the Paths, or is she more helpful by buffing the entire village and making sure the ninjas won't die? Well, that really depends. It depends on whether Tsunade would be able to defeat Pain fast, meaning that more ninjas would be saved if she defeated Pain fast than if she sent her healing to the Leaf Village. Obviously, Tsunade had enough strength, both physically and just as a shinobi, to fight against a particular Path of Pain. She would probably stomp every single path except for the Deva path and the Animal path if the Animal path brings forth a lot of summons. So individually, Tsunade would crush the paths. If Konoha managed to beat the Naraka path with a Rasengan after he learned it a week ago, Tsunade, one of the 3 legendary Sanin, the Hokage of the village, the best healing ninja of the world, she could also do that. She could also beat paths 1v1 very easily, with the exception of Tendo and the Animal path maybe. So technically, she could go towards a path if they locate one and try to defeat that one. However, if she goes after one path and defeats that path, you still have to deal with 5 paths. And Tsunade won't be able to send her chakra as vigorously to the other ninjas of the village if she's fighting against a particular path. She has to concentrate a lot. Remember that she was sitting on the rooftop of the Hokage's office and she was concentrating, sitting down. She had her eyes closed and she had an entire root cell protecting her, making her guard, because she had to be protected. She couldn't concentrate on anything else, so her guard was lowered. And remember when she found out Kakashi died, she stopped what she was doing, no longer emitting chakra for a few instants, punched that column on top of the Hokage's office, and then she went back to sending her chakra to heal the village. So she simply would not be able to do the same thing if she was concentrating on a fight against the Path of Pain, even if the Path of Pain is pretty weak in combat. Also, if Tsunade did that, Pain is not dumb. He would come up with a strategy to counter what Tsunade is doing. If she goes after a particular Path of Pain, he would send several Animal Path summons to intercept her. And yet, Tsunade can beat Animal Path summons as well, but for example, the multi-headed hound could be very problematic. I don't see how Tsunade is dealing with that one, meaning that she would have to retreat. And as she's doing so, she could be ambushed by more paths, because don't forget about it, Pain can bring in more paths as reinforcements. When Nagato thought Kakashi would be very troublesome when he was just fighting against the Deva path, he quickly brought in the Asura path to do a 2v1 against Kakashi. He could do the same thing against Tsunade, and even more so because she's the Hokage, and if the Hokage dies and the Leaf Village finds out about that, which, to be honest, they quickly would, because that type of news spreads like wildfire, their morale would drop, it would crater, and then the village could be overrun. And that's a problem, right? So it would be risky for Tsunade to just go towards a particular Path of Pain because it's just one path. And even if everything works, even if Tsunade defeats that path and goes to fight another one, that's still gonna take time she's not able to heal the rest of the village, meaning that more people are going to die, more ninjas are gonna get wounded, more ninjas are gonna lose fights to the paths. And let's be real here, if the 6 paths converge on Tsunade, she is kinda toasted. The 100 healings makes her very powerful, but it doesn't make her really fast. Fighting against all 6 paths would be a nightmare for Tsunade. She wouldn't be able to do it. Sage Mode Naruto was only able to do it because he had a lot of toads helping him out. And don't forget that when Naruto started fighting Pain, Pain was nerfed because he had just used a catastrophic Shinra Tensei to completely destroy the village, meaning that, yeah, he had used a lot of chakra and because he also fought against the village, but also he didn't have access to Shinra Tensei because it was on a longer cooldown. Also, just look at the Jiraiya fight. Yeah, Jiraiya defeated 3 paths. None of them were the strongest paths when it came to combat. Arguably, the Animal path could be one because of the summons. But when the 6 paths show up, Jiraiya didn't do anything. He just got stomped. And even if Tsunade takes down a path, if it's not the Naraka path can bring that other path back to life. Tsunade didn't know that exactly. She knew that somehow the paths could be brought back to life because it happened in the fight against Jiraiya, and Fukasaku had intel on that. So she didn't know the exact mechanic that Pain was using to do it, but obviously she knew something fishy was going on over there. And Tsunade opted for a more conservative, safe, but also very intelligent option to buff the entire village and try to make everyone survive it. If it wasn't for her, the catastrophic Shinra Tensei would have killed way more people because she spent the seal on her forehead. She dished out that entire chakra to the Katsuyas around the village to heal people as the Shinra Tensei was consuming the place. You can clearly see that after the Shinra Tensei stops, several people come out of Katsuyas, Sakura, a lot of other people, and they would have probably died if Tsunade didn't do that. Now, in the grand scheme of things, this didn't really matter because eventually Naruto would resurrect everybody by talking to Jutsu in Nagato. But if we go by that logic, then Tsunade might as well have not done anything because Naruto was gonna resurrect everybody by the end of the arc anyways. Obviously not, right? Naruto, that was something that nobody knew that he could do, that even Nagato could do. So Tsunade was doing the best she could to protect the village, and in the situation she was in, she was acting very smart, using her strengths to fight against a very difficult situation with fog of war, and also trying to bring Naruto back to the village, knowing that he was one of the only people capable of fighting against such a powerful foe. Was it risky to bring the Nine Tails to the village, the very thing Pain was trying to capture? Yeah, but Pain was gonna go after Naruto anyway, so you might as well have Naruto here when he has support of everyone. Well, he didn't have support of everyone because of the catastrophic Shinra Tensei. Because yeah, even though Naruto tells Tsunade to tell other people not to interfere because they're gonna be a burden to Naruto in the fight, if people like Tsunade or Kakashi, or if Guy was in the village, were there in fighting condition, they would certainly be helpful to Naruto. They could actually join the fight and not be a liability. They could actually provide a lot of help to Naruto, and if Naruto had Kakashi on his side there, the fight could have gone very differently and Naruto could have been Pain much sooner, for example. Tsunade is the same, but obviously Tsunade had to do her best with what she had, and sending her chakra to the village seemed like the best option. Even though some people say, oh, she was a coward, she didn't go to fight against Pain. No, she was not a coward. She was actually being smart. And when Pain came to face her, she didn't show any fear. She was actually fearless, which maybe she could have been a little bit more conservative when it came to that, because then Pain wouldn't have gotten rage baited and destroyed the village. But anyways, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and make sure ring notifications because YouTube is not sending all my videos around, especially the rewrites. Those things help me out and they help you out as well. Watch this other video right here for more cool Naruto content, and thank you so much for watching.